Welcome to Rocks Talks. It's good to see you. It's a Wednesday, and I feel like today needs to be like a little lighthearted. So today we're going to talk about Maldives Parliament. I promise it'll make you feel a little bit better about our own government. We're also going to talk about what's going on with Siri Maps, and I'll give you a little heads up on how dinner went last night for my mom's birthday. I think that'll be what we'll cover today, so I'm just going to go ahead and dive in. I want to thank you guys for listening, for watching all the things, and I did upload a batch of like 5 of these episodes. If you watch them on YouTube, you're good to go, but I kind of after the fact have been batching them because I do it all by myself. This is like me, grassroots rocks, which is probably why you don't have thumbnails. I'll get to you, YouTube. Anyhow, I put them on. So if you listen to podcasts like on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to podcasts, those 5 all listed. So if you're subscribed there, you got this like, oh, new episodes. I think I'll get, well, I don't want to promise anything, but I did put them on there. Yeah, I'm gonna get better at it, I think. Okay. So yesterday morning I went to work out. I danced. Oh, by the way, there's this thing, if you were a member at Lifetime, I know they're all around the country. There's this thing called a hydro massage. It's like a chair and it just like has water in it. It massages you from up and down. Oh, excuse me. Excuse that frog. It is quite the thing. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. You'll have to check it out if you haven't already. And I did that first because I got there early. Then I danced, had a good time. And on my way home, I wanted to get my mom flowers, her favorite flowers at Callaway's, since it was her birthday yesterday. I'm like, okay, well, I'm just going to find a florist. So I punched in the whole like florist near me into my Siri Maps, because those are the maps I use. I use Siri Maps. I have an iPhone. And I found one that was supposed to be like 4 minutes away. So I follow the directions. I'm just listening to Siri, do. All of a sudden, I'm like, I'm in a neighborhood. Oh, but I missed a turn, so I figured it was getting me through the neighborhood, then into like a shopping complex. Nope. It was somebody's house. I'm driving up to somebody's house in the middle of Arizona because Siri says that's the address is florist. Girl, I got out of there so fast. I'm like, no, I'm not doing this. I didn't get out of the car. I made a fast U-turn as quickly as I could, and I got out of there. I'm like, okay, that's a fail. What's the next florist? So I find the next florist on the list, and I start going that direction. It's towards home more. I'm like driving. I turn in, and at first I thought this is kind of weird because I'm seeing like these, they look like abandoned school buses along the way. I'm like, this is weird. So I turn in, just do it. It is in a parking, like it is in a shopping center, so I'm feeling good about this. I turn in, and all of a sudden I see like student loading zone. Don't go any further. Like the whole shopping center had been turned into some type of academy or school. And I'm like, are you kidding me? So that was a bust. So I get out of there because I'm not going to school. I'm sure I'm like, Siri Maps, we've had a really good relationship. What the heck is going on? So then I go to door number 3. I'm like, all right, okay, this is closer to home. This one will go, what kind of closer to home? But I'm like, okay, I'm still going into the direction of home. I get to the seediest little place I've seen. It just looks seedy. I won't go too much into it. And you have to drive into the parking lot around the back where you can't see to get into the floors. I'm like, I'm done. And I didn't even turn. I made a U-turn and I headed home. I'm like, these flowers are not meant to happen. I got the hint. It was like, this is no. Thank you for playing. When did it get so hard to find a florist? I remember when we lived in California, so long ago, there were florists like in floral stands on the PCH as we headed from like Newport Beach to Laguna Beach. They're florists. You could just stop there. I don't know. Not a thing, was not meant to be. But what I have noticed, and this is also in California, my Siri Maps, and I know she can hear me right now, have kind of done me dirty. I have gone to restaurants or places and I'm like, hey, Siri says you're closed. I'm like, oh yeah, we've been trying to fix that. Like the timing has been off of like when the hours are open. And I'm just wondering, does Siri need to make like a whole overhaul? Like they need to hire some people to just focus on their maps and get them right, get the locations right, get the times right. Because you're messing with people's business and with people's safety. Where was I going? Don't know. I have this like safety first kind of like fight or flight mechanism. I'm like, get the heck out of there. So that got me out of there quickly. But still, I'm like, and I probably would have been fine. Who knows? But I was not staying around to find out. There was not going to be a see what happened was type of situation. Have you noticed, and do you use Google Maps instead? And do you find Google Maps is better? If you're a Droid user, I know you use Google Maps. Funny story, I mentioned that because one of my clients, Grace, she did a live the other day, and her live was about how on Instagram she's like, she's an Android, and she's like, I thought this war between Android and Apple was over, but it really doesn't seem to be over. And I happened to pop on. I'm like, it's not over, Apple. And what's so funny about that is I was giving someone my phone number yesterday, and we communicated like on social and other places, but we never like texted. I'm like, this is so much easier. Here's my phone number. So she texts me and she goes, oh my gosh. She's like, it's me. And she's like, I am so happy to see that this message turned blue. And I just chuckled. If you know, you know. Blue means we are both iPhone, so we can both, we get each other simpatico. Green means, and I'm married to a green, but I'm going to get him blue soon. Don't you worry. So last night, we had a family dinner celebrating my mom for her birthday. And we went to a steakhouse, Galata's Steakhouse. It was in Chandler. Actually, it might technically be in Tempe. Don't know. In Arizona, the cities, you just like this. They're like this. Anyhow, it'd been a while since I was at a Brazilian steakhouse, so it was really fun. You get the red light, green light, and I'm not talking about, what was that show? Squid Games. Not that kind of red light, green light. But like, give me the food, give me the meat or don't. They had 17 different types of meat, and I was trying to keep track of them. And after a while, there's things I never heard of. Like there's top sirloin. Of course, I've heard of that. I didn't know there's a bottom sirloin. That's a thing. Who knew that? Then they had like Parmesan pork, and then they had, oh my gosh, you name it. They had garlic sirloin, and they had tri-tip, and they had chicken and bacon rolled chicken and bacon rolled steak and lamb, and it just kept coming and coming. I would say, like, for anyone who believes that as in your over your 40s you need more protein, I got my protein yesterday. My protein was in yesterday. My body's probably pretty proud of me. And their like salad bar area, because they always have those, was actually very tasty too. I will do a video on it eventually. I am probably 3 weeks, I don't want to say behind because it's not a word, but I have 3 weeks in the queue for Valley Rocks, for locations and different things inside of Arizona. So that one will make it. I did do enough video. I was like, oh, I had some video for it, but it's going to be a bit. But it was really good. If you've not been to a Brazilian steakhouse, the fun part of it is they just bring these large, like skewers, these knives, and they just, the meat they make, I guess they make it on the skewer. And then they come up and they ask if you like it, and you said yes. And they cut it off, and you grab you have your tongs, not thong, not to be confused with thong, those are different. And you pull the meat off, and they just keep going as long as you have the green light coaster on. If you turn it to red, they'll leave you be. And then you have a full salad bar full of food. So it was good. It felt good. Like, it's always good when you eat food and you're like, okay, that felt good, Scott always jokes about it when he's like, back in the day when I only had a few dollars, like I'd go to Taco Bell. I'm like, yeah, I remember going to Taco Bell too. That was a thing. And so one day he was like, I went to Taco Bell. He felt so sick. I'm like, yeah, we can't do that anymore. Taco Bell does not match with what our bodies want anymore. I am going to bring something up with Whole Foods though, because I have a beef with Whole Foods right now. I love Whole Foods. Whole Foods, I love you. You have the best meat as far as I'm concerned. I've gone to the Whole Foods near our house here. They're lovely. The meat section or the butcher, whatever you want to call them, they're so nice. I've enjoyed them all. They're flirtatious, which is totally fine. But their burgers, first of all, they don't have cowboy burgers. He said that the recipe was too expensive, so they stopped making them. Now, my sister tells me that she's gone to Whole Foods in town. They have the cowboy burgers. But the second issue is the burgers they do have, once you cook them, they shrink. Their shrinkage factor is like a guy in a hot tub. I mean, seriously. Which means that the meat that they're using is just way too fatty. And so it's just a bummer because they look like I buy a burger and then when I cook it, It seriously looks like it's a slider, and I'm annoyed with it. I'm not sure how to go about letting them know, and maybe they're just happy that way, but I kind of need to let them know. They taste good, but because I'm gonna have to start going to another Whole Foods, and I don't know how far that is going to be, or they could just fix it, and everyone would be happier. Just saying. I don't know about you, but I have lost faith in a lot of ways in our government. Go figure. And our Congress, like, that, it's an act of Congress. That gets more, maybe we've just spoke that in existence, like trying to get something done in Congress, something good in Congress done is ridiculous. They'd rather fight with each other than get things done. But I have to tell you, when I saw the news, and I think I told you yesterday, Mo News is like my place to get like, okay, give me the snippets. What's going on, Mo? At Mo News did a highlight yesterday. I think it was yesterday. The Maldives Parliament apparently had a little coup d'etat. Not a coup, not like a coup, but they had a little frolic of interestingness because one party didn't want to vote in the other party's people. I don't know the issue, but it turned into, I'm going to put a link because I just think it's so wild. It turned into, they were shooting toy guns, like obviously like Nerf looking like guns inside a parliament. They were pulling hair. People were on the ground. They were punching each other in their parliament, their version of Congress. And I just thought, oh, so it's not only our Congress that is going wacky. Maybe it's just the ways of the world right now. Maybe there is something to the fact that structures as we know them are, I don't know, want to say crumbling or getting ridiculous or rerouting, but we're not the only ones. I felt a little bit better because I'm like, well, at least our Congress members are not doing that. They're kind of doing that, but they're not doing that. There's a little bit more decorum. When we have an issue in Congress like that, it's January 6th, and it's citizens sadly being crazy. I would not call them patriots at all, but it's not our actual Congress. You know what their parliament looked like? Some of the state congresses around here. That can be wild. I mean, around the country. I'm not talking about specific. I can think of some specifically, but kind of reminds me of Texas. I'm going to say I lived the longest. Is that right? Yeah, I lived the longest in Texas. So I saw a lot of crazy. And I actually worked for the Texas Supreme Court. So you want some interesting state politics, you check out Texas. It's interesting. It is. Good times. All right. I'm going to leave you. It's so good to see you. I hope that like I said, I'll link that link. I will link the video so you can see the wildness. Maybe just it'll give you a little bit of a laugh and a levity. This week, the month is almost over, and that is what it is. Whether that's good or that's bad for you. I hope it's good for you. I hope it's been a great month, or if it hasn't been, I hope you can find the good in that month. I definitely can find the good in this month, even though the month has been hard. That's okay. I can hang with it. But February is knocking on our door. Hey, hey. I'll try not to sing too much. No, I'm not going to promise that. I'm not going to promise anything on here, except that I will see you tomorrow, and go be great. Bye, everybody.